of those fly on the wall situations maybe, because I had said we need to talk about this before we made this video and we didn't.
First I thought sinking funds were like all of them. Like all our funds were sinking at the time. Isn't it weird how good planning things in advance can feel? We know like going to a bouncy house place is at least $300.
Right, but we're not doing that. He wants to have a doggy party at our house. I will get all my friends to bring their dogs.
Oh, that's a good idea. That would be fun.
That would be a hot mess.
That would be bad.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody on the no balloon train? I hate those things.
If you have kids.
Good Lord.
They last for a week. Everybody fights over them. Everybody lets it go and they can't find it in the house, and then somebody pops one and then they hit you in the face. It's just, we're balloons. Woo.
97.
1997.
1997, and the title of the article is like, man gets pulled over with expired tag, ... He says he's just been really busy.
This is where I get a little confused.
For somebody that bites their fingernails, that coronavirus is scary. I need to stop.
Don't bite your fingernails anyway.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back. Our son is here, and he's asleep.
He's not like here, he's upstairs.
Falsetto, slowly.
Gradually crescendo.
Crescendo.
Falsetto is when your voice is really high pitched.
Yeah,
or like you have that.
That's what I meant.
No, this is a crescendo, a gradual crescendo. I guess we could say, hey, welcome back to the vlog.
What's up, guys? Welcome back.
Hopefully we're not gonna wake him up. If you don't follow us on Instagram, you may not know that we have another sick kid this week. Gaines had the flu 2 weeks ago, and now Brooks has something. We thought maybe last night it was the flu. Now it seemed like it might just be a virus. Doesn't seem quite as bad as hers was. The doctor's office prefers that they not come in immediately and give it like at least 24 hours. Sometimes they say 3 days before you bring him in, because if it's just like a passing virus, he doesn't have sore throat, sore ears, any of that, unless they have any of that. They just say to kind of keep him, let him get better, and we'll see. He's upstairs napping right now, so we're trying to kind of get our life together. We had other plans for the day, but you know, life happens and kids get sick. What we wanted to talk about today was basically sinking funds. That's something that we haven't really gotten to yet. I think the last budget we did for March, if you go back and watch our March video, that was the first time that we even put a little bit into sinking funds, because we just started this whole thing in the middle, kind of end of January. And so we have been playing catch up, like get it all back together. And
we need more ketchup.
We actually are out of ketchup, speaking of the grocery budget. But if y'all are subscribed to the Budget Mom or follow her, she just uploaded a video yesterday where she took like a real person's income and expenses and debt and all that and showed kind of where to start. I know a lot of y'all have asked kind of like, this is really confusing and seems overwhelming, so where do I start? Her video was so good and so helpful. In one video explaining how she figured out what to put in sinking funds, how to pay off the debt, how to pay the bills, how to do the budget by paycheck. It's a really good video, so check it out. It helped me a lot with figuring out, like when we started doing sinking funds last month, it was like, we've got $60 left, let's just put 20 here and 20 here, and that's where it'll go. This made so much more sense the way she did it, by listing them all, kind of figuring out what are your goals for those. So like our kids are gonna have a birthday and we plan to celebrate that. Our budget for that may be smaller, is gonna be smaller than what it usually would be. Christmas, all of that, you know it's coming. So like plan for it.
First I thought sinking funds were like all of them. Like all our funds were sinking at the time.
They were.
Like we were man
Everything
overboard.
was man overboard.
But now I get like, there you sink them down to the bottom of your budget to plan for the future.
Yeah, I still think it's a weird terminology. They're the money that sinks to the bottom, I guess, because it's left over kind of at the end. I think there's a little bit of a differentiation to be made, I believe, in saving for like a trip or saving for some goal while you're still in the debt payoff portion versus saving for Christmas or saving for your kid's birthday. So like, you know your kids' birthdays are coming up, and even if you're only planning to buy them a box cake and get them a lollipop for their present, you still need to save that $5. You know, you're still gonna need that $5 when the time comes around. Granted, you probably spend a little more than that. So it's not about saving up as much as you can so you can throw them some extravagant birthday party. It's about looking logically at like, what reasonable budget do you have for that event? And then recognizing it's gonna come, and how much time do we have between now and then. So like for Brooks's birthday is in July and we're currently in March. So we've already done our March budget. So the money for that is already allocated and taken care of. So it'll be starting in April, May, June. So we literally only have 3 months. So we need to decide like how much will we need to put aside each month in order for July to get here and us not panic.
Yeah.
Or have to use any of the money that we're gonna plan to pay towards debt.
Isn't it weird how good planning things in advance can feel?
Like the peace that it brings. And I think people say that and you're like, okay, sure, yeah, I'm sure it makes you feel all peaceful, but it really does. Like just not having that to worry about, I don't think you realize how much stuff's in the back of your head.
I've always been the type that whenever I have a guest on our podcast or something like that, I'll do my research and I won't forget a thing. And then come podcast day, I'm like, hang on.
I should have written some of that down.
I should have written some down. Can you come to this party on this day, or can you come to this meeting? And I'm like, hang on, let me check with my calendar. And then I call Katie.
I am the calendar because I have it written down.
She's got it written down. I didn't even know how to use the calendar app for the longest time.
That's probably partially because I used to be a written calendar person, and I still am written with a lot of my budget stuff. While we use like the Every Dollar app to decide on the budget, I don't really use it to track things. I prefer to like use my written out method right here. But we do use the calendar app in our phones now to keep track of like big things, which is super awesome because it connects our two selves together. This is kind of one of those fly on the wall situations maybe, because I had said we need to talk about this before we make this video and we didn't. I guess y'all are just gonna watch us talk about it. But we need to decide what's important. So like when we first had our, basically kind of our oh crap moment, what I did is I went through and like, I took a piece of paper and I was like, what even do we spend our money on? I don't even know. But that's kind of different from the whole comparing the groceries from this year to last year, whatever else. I literally kind of went through the bank account and was like, what all do we spend money on? Even it out with how much we make a month and like, oh, we're good. We have like $1,000 left over at the end of the month. Then I started thinking, oh, but next month the pets need shots and that's gonna be $200. The next month my car needs servicing and that's gonna be $400. Next month, you know, all those things. And so I was like, shoot, I need to make a list of that. So I started out making this list of things that happen every year. I made this like 3 months ago. I don't know if you even, did you even see this?
I've seen that, yeah. And you kind of just reference it, but you haven't really like,
well, because it was so overwhelming. Yeah. There's so many of it, so many things that I was just like, I don't even think it would add up right if I put them all in there. So like, I'm just gonna avoid it. That's not the way to do it. Even if it doesn't add up, that's when you go, shoot, this doesn't add up. I need an extra like $200 a month to put towards sinking funds just so that we don't panic in July or September, back to school time.
Right.
That makes you cut other things out because you know you have to in order to reach the goals that you want to reach. What I'm a little bit unsure about what to do is like, I'm using the example that she used, this lady's stuff. Like she has-
Nico. Or is it Nico?
No, I'm saying the lady that she used.
Oh.
So she used this other lady's example of her budget. Her kid's birthday, she has a camp for her kid that they go to, a trip that she's going on, some like hockey bills for him, holiday, then back to school, Disneyland, and Christmas. Okay, so I can say, I know we need to do Christmas, the kids' birthdays, and I guess things like, so I have other birthdays in here. So like birthday presents for other people. I don't know if other people consider that a sinking fund or like the way we used to do it or have always done it is like have an envelope for other people's birthdays.
That would be considered a sinking
and
fund,
maybe put $20 in there a month, and the goal is like put $20 in there a month. Like,
that's the thing with doing what we're about to do is I called yesterday about this car maintenance that we have to get done on your car, and we've just been kind of like, yeah, well, we need to do it sometime. Let's throw $20, $50 in there, but now we know exactly how much it's going to cost after yesterday, and then now we can say, okay, it could probably go another month, and we can take that time to build that.
Right, to build that fund up.
The amount up to get it done.
Yes, and still meet our other goals of paying off debt and everything else. I didn't even know what sinking funds were when I made this list. So I assume this is, like I've got one for car service because, you know, you gotta get your oil change or your car serviced or whatever. Pet vaccines, because that may not be a lot for some people, but we have 4 pets and it ends up being, see, I don't even know, I'm like 100. They get all their shots, they get their like whatever else. I should probably figure out exactly how much that cost last time we went and add it up for each of them, and then determine how much I need to put aside monthly to have that amount. See, previously I thought like, let's look at how much it costs a year and just go ahead and divide what we need. Say we need $400 total. Go ahead and divide that by 12. That's not accurate when our pets need their vaccines in like 2 months.
Yeah, and even if they don't need them in 2 months, but and we don't have time for whatever reason, we're out of town or whatever, the next month or the next month, we'll at least have it in there, worry free, without like, oh crap.
I think part of it, because we're still kind of playing catch up and getting back on a budget, is we figure out what we need to put in our sinking funds for pet vaccines the next 2 months, but then go ahead and have a plan for after that. We need to save up for 12 months so we can decrease the amount we're putting in there. But right now you gotta hustle to get it filled up so that it can be met in time. Kind of like you said, maybe they end up going an extra month so that we have extra money. Nobody's gonna like die from being a month late on the checkup. But your kids' birthdays and Christmas, you can't put that off a month. Like that's actually gonna come up.
The example that she used in their video was putting 400 and 400 in some amounts, and then after going through her budget and everything and looking at everything, that she cut that to 200 and 200.
Because one was 400 for a kid's birthday, and she was like, you know, I know it sucks, and I know you want your kid to have like a fabulous birthday, but this year it's gonna need to be 200. Next year you can plan for 400 because you'll be plenty ahead, and you'll have plenty of extra time to save up that money.
That's the good thing about like seeing it all.
I have contacts or like eye appointments. I guess that needs to be a sinking fund because it needs to come from somewhere. A homeowners association, which I guess take out because we've already paid it for the year. We're hoping not to be here next year.
Yeah, I'll take that out.
Car tags are something that comes around every year. We have one that's in November and then one that's in February. Why are you laughing?
I love the picture you tagged me.
I tagged you in last night.
Somebody shared a picture on Facebook. It was a story.
It was a story from Alabama, I'm pretty sure.
The title, first of all, was a picture of a tag with a circle around the year that it expired, and it was 97.
1997.
1997, and the title of the article is like, man gets pulled over with expired tag, ... He says he's just been really busy.
And I was like, dang, Cullen, we gotta put that off. Because like our November one, that was part of our Get Current. We hadn't paid it or like renewed it. And so it was February when we did it. And I thought we were like way late, which we were. But this guy was 97. We could have gone a little longer.
Been a little busy, officer.
Yeah, those are the kind of things that I want to be so prepared for, that when that month comes up, I'm like, oh, here's the money. There it is. No stress. And it's not because, oh, wow, we make so much money and we have all this money, we can just write a check, which is where we were and what got us here.
Well, and it alleviates the stress of like deciding on which car to drive in when we leave the house.
Right.
Like, crap, we gotta move the bikes from behind your car because we can't take my car because the tag expired, and if we get pulled over, then there are the times when we did drive it with the tag expired, and it's like, I hope we don't get pulled over. Just, you're living with,
we don't have the money to pay
extra
an extra
stress.
ticket right now. So.
Yeah, and that was one of the things she touched on in her video, is just how freeing it is. Kind of like doing the Marie Kondo thing. It's just like, it simplifies your life financially, and so financial peace, obviously, and then
it frees up mental space.
Yeah, that little stress stuff that you don't even realize is bothering you.
That makes you irritable, makes you grumpy, because your brain is like thinking all these things all at one time. And when you can reduce that, it gives you so much more space.
So it's like, Daddy, where are we going? Hush, I just turned off the road because I didn't want the cop to see me.
Yeah. Oh, no, there seriously was one day when I was driving with the kids, and all of a sudden I saw a cop pull up behind me. I knew the tag was expired, and Gaines was in the middle of telling me a story, and she was like, and then we got on this really cool thing, and I wrote my name, and my teacher was so proud of me, and I was like, oh shoot, the cop, okay. She's like, Mommy, did you hear me? And I was like, hang on, just a second, I gotta, and I was like trying to figure out whether I needed to get over, or did I need to exit? I was like, please don't pull me over. And it interferes, like you don't think of the little ways that those types of things interfere with your life.
True.
So other things were life insurance. We pay that once a year. Our kids' birthday parties, you know, you want to have them a birthday party, whether it's $100 or $50 or a cake, and then you want to get them a couple gifts. So I feel like gifts and birthdays, should that go separately or together? Just like their birthday all together?
Yeah,
all
together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
because we already got so many little categories.
We have like our yearly subscription renewals, which we've talked about this. I'm not going to get into a discussion of whether you should or should not have Costco memberships or whatever else, or whatever. Say that's $100. You only got to put $12 or $12 in there a month. Less than that, $8 in there a month or something like that. That's a small amount, and previously I've just been like, well, let's just take $100 from that month. Those are the main ones I had. And then, fall sports, signing Brooks up for like a fall sport that he wants to do, soccer or baseball or whatever.
We'll have to look at everything before we decide on that.
Well, that's the thing too, is we don't know where we're gonna be living. We don't know.
There's no sense to put money towards it when we don't know where we're going to be.
I kind of disagree with that, because I think, say it's in August, March, April, May, June, July, August, that's 5 months. Say it's $100 to sign up. Then you put $20 aside a month. You get to August, we decide, shoot, we're in the middle of craziness, we don't put him in sports. So we just save that until maybe spring he wants to do a sport. Or we say, well, let's just put this extra 100 towards debt right now. I don't think there's any harm in going ahead and having it set aside in case we do. I'd rather be prepared than not. You know what I mean? So
I see what you're saying. I could also see the other side of like $20 adds up, you know, $100 adds up. To going towards other things. I don't know.
Maybe it could be into
when
a
we're not
fund
even sure.
for like
it's just still a question mark.
Right. Well, maybe we give that one a couple months and have it as like a tentative. So I think she even had a couple coming up in July and September, or you know, sooner. And she said, let's go ahead and make sure those sinking funds are fully funded, so you are prepared for your kid's birthday, you are prepared for Christmas, or you know, whatever else. Then once these first ones are fully funded, then you start funding the other ones.
That makes more sense. Like the things you know,
so that you make sure
you're going to be there fully funded before you go into the
like
just in case things.
Back to school, there's like, you know, they gotta get some supplies and they gotta get like new tennis shoes or whatever else. I'm just kind of stealing her sheet. I wanted to just write it out myself. So I did it the way she did, where I have the date, what the goal is, how much needs to be put aside yearly, like for future reference, and then in the meantime, what needs to be put aside monthly in order to make that goal, and how many months do we have to save. I'm thinking like end of the school year. Usually there's a bit of an expense, but we already have those Amazon gift cards that we got with our credit card rewards.
St. Patrick's Day's coming up.
Oh my goodness. Pet vaccines. Do we do the pets in there? Do we do the car tags? Like we just paid those. So those will be not needed again until November. So let's put that at the bottom. So like let's just go down and write. I'm gonna write November on here. She's got April, June, September, May.
I'm like, groceries make me happy, and I know those are coming up later. Let's just go ahead and put more money into that.
July is Brooke's birthday.
See, how much do we want to spend on that?
Well, and then
because we know like going to a bouncy house place is at least $300.
Right, but we're not doing that. He wants to have a doggy party at our house.
Okay, so renting some dogs from the Humane Society is gonna be at least $300, right?
No, we're not spending $300 on his birthday. I will get all my friends to bring their dogs.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That would be fun. That would be a hot mess.
That would be bad.
Oh my gosh. I mean, even last year we did his birthday at a park. This was when we had no money. Bought balloons, which we didn't even really need balloons. We could do without the balloons. They kind of blew away.
Anybody on the no balloon train? I hate those things.
If you have kids,
they look good and they sound good and they feel and mentally they are like, whoa, balloons, but good lord.
They last for a week. Everybody fights over them. Everybody lets it go and they can't find it in the house, and then somebody pops one and then they hit you in the face. It's just, we're balloons. Woo! We got cupcakes. We got like little party favors. We had like a tablecloth to cover the table with, cheap $1 tablecloth.
Bottle of water in a cooler.
We had bottled waters and like some juice boxes, and we had, I think, like some chips or something. We got little Pringle stacker cans. We kind of did minimal stuff for the birthday party, and I would say it was still got to be like $100.
It's still, it adds up.
It adds up when you're having a birthday party, and
it was in a free public park.
Kind of feel like I already read the comments, people being like, you don't have to have a birthday party for your kid to be happy, and that's fine if that's your opinion. Our opinion and the way that we do things in our family is we're gonna have a birthday party for our kids. So it is what it is right now. Like, if it is what it is, basically. Even for Brooks's last year, we ended up waiting till a month after, because one, everybody was out of town, and two, it gave us more time to save up some money. So
true.
If it needs to be a month later or something, then
it's
that's
not
fine.
Even worth.
But it's gonna happen.
We're gonna do what we're gonna do.
Yes. September, James' birthday. I know in December is gonna be Christmas. She's got in there 4th of July. We do end up spending money on the 4th of July. It's one that I would put off in my head and be like, well, you don't need to save money for that. Even if it's the $50 that we spend to, you know, go buy some fireworks or go buy some hot dogs. But maybe the point of that is that at this point in our lives, we shouldn't be. We should use just our basic grocery budget to buy some hot dogs. Like last year we didn't really spend, but I don't know, we may have spent like $20.
I don't think we did.
$10 in fireworks, $10 in hot dogs and buns, and went to we paid $5 for parking at like a local state park, grilled out our hot dogs ourselves. So I don't think that necessarily needs to be a sinking fund for us at this point.
I think at one point I went over and took some of the hot coals out of one of the grills that one of the ladies.
You were like, oh shoot, we don't have to pay for that.
I was like, crap, I didn't bring charcoal. And then I saw they were done, and I was like, can I snatch some of your coals? Hey, you never know. All you gotta do is ask. People understand. She's like, oh yeah, sure, sweetie, go ahead.
For the future, I'd like to have a 4th of July one, because previously we went to the beach for the 4th of July. This is the first year we haven't in a long time. And so even if we're going, my parents have a beach house, so we don't have to pay for a place to stay. You still spend money, you know, and like gas and everything. So for the future, we might need a budget for that. Valentine's Day is something I would like to budget in the future. Thanksgiving, we usually end up buying some of the food. So I'd like to have a budget for that, but that's not a necessity right now. I think we need a sinking fund right now for moving expenses.
Yes.
Because
that is something we haven't even really thought about. I mean, we've thought about it. We haven't talked about it as far as like, yes, we may have a service swap with kind of like we did last time.
Right.
As far as the moving company working with us, but we still will spend money.
Turn on your cable fee. There's all those little fees that you end up getting back. So some of that, we can take the deposit that we get back, utilize that to pay the future. There's gonna be a couple nights probably where I wanna not feel guilty that we pick up McDonald's for dinner.
Oh yeah.
And spend some money on that, which granted we have our eating out fund. When you're in the middle of moving, you just,
there's nothing better than a
you know,
flame broiled Whopper on a 5-gallon bucket.
But you're also gonna have little things like maybe you move in, for example, we had like a built-in trash can and the next house doesn't, and so we have to buy a trash can. You know, just like stuff like that comes up when you're moving, but we still tipped the guys.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So you need money for that. We got our TVs hung, which that's not a priority when you're on a budget, obviously, but there's little things like that.
So what are we gonna do for moving?
I don't know. I have no idea how much we pay last time.
I have no idea. Literally.
I have no idea either. How much does it even cost? Y'all are like, wait. You've been trying to sell your house for 8 months and you have no idea how much you're gonna spend on moving.
We'll figure it out when we get there. I got friends and I can get them a 6-pack of Natty Light. I don't know, like, that's one of my fears.
I'm kind of like $500, but
no. Moving to this house from our old house would have been probably
$5,000. Right. Maybe we should get in touch with our friend and make sure that we still are gonna be able to swap services on that.
I mean,
I don't know. Kind of like when I was on the phone with Dave Ramsey and he was like, so how much would you need to spend to do the upgrades they said? And I'm like,
and I think our first move we used like a Groupon, and it was like, that was a set amount, you know, but you still tip the guys. I think it was like $125 for 2 hours or something.
Let's say we're gonna check on things before we actually make that decision. But for now, I'm gonna put $500. That's probably not enough. Y'all are probably gonna leave me comments being like, y'all, you crazy. Let's just say $100 for the birthday parties. I don't know if we're gonna spend that much. I don't know if we're gonna spend that little, but that seems like we could pull off a party for that much, you think?
Yeah.
If we're doing minimum. We usually take them somewhere the day of their party, which
what about
we might.
Easter?
Oh, Easter. Well, that's probably not appropriate. But, okay, so we're gonna have to go back, what's this, April?
Well, see, one of the things with Easter though is we've already kind of like,
that's true. We don't really need
looking around the house saying, oh, this would be a good Easter gift.
Right. And you spent $15 the other day out of a miscellaneous fund to buy a couple things that you thought would be appropriate for Easter. But where previously I probably would have spent $200, $300 on new clothes for the kids for Easter and for myself. I don't plan to do that this year, but I do know that Brooks will need new shoes for Easter and just to last spring. And then Gaines will, I think she needs new shoes. I think that's all she's gonna need. Oh, okay.
This is how we do our videos.
Let's say, what, $50? You think we could make that happen?
Yeah.
Shoes
I mean,
plus.
you think we even need that much? She doesn't need
Well,
new
I'm
shoes?
talking about they both need spring shoes like in life. Like Sunday shoes to wear church. You know, Brooks can't wear his
Those
brown
Spider-Man
boots.
ones look good.
He might wear those. For their birthdays, we said 100 for the party. Let's say 100 for gifts.
100?
Do you know how much we previously spent? Is that too much?
That's way too much.
For birthday presents?
For each of them? $100 each?
Yeah.
$10 gifts, $12 gifts.
I'm thinking if I over budget on the presents and I under budget on the party, maybe it'll equal out. I'm just saying let's go $200. She approved $200 for that other kid's birthday.
Yeah, but he was 11.
We'll do $150 for each of their birthdays.
I mean, we can always go up, can't we?
Yeah. For Christmas, this is gonna include our kids, our presents to like family, our kids' teachers, dirty Santa gifts for friends' parties, and like you budget all that.
Last year we didn't know.
Is this just gifts?
I just found stuff later around the house.
What if we say $500? Like, let's think about the past though. I feel like we throw out a number like 500 and we're like, whoa, that's way too much. But if you look at what we spent previously, say previously we would spend $50 on my sister, my brother-in-law, your sister, your sister, your sister, your mom, Stan, my mom, my dad. Say we spent, which we had cut down the budget on that.
I was this past year we were like, we're not doing adult swaps or whatever.
Corey, sorry Corey.
Yeah.
And then that doesn't even count like Sophia but previously, if you take 10.
I'm gonna go get the kids.
If you take 10 people.
Games.
And even if we cut it down to spending $20 each, which we didn't, we would usually spend between 30 to 50, I'd say. So $30 times 10 people, I shouldn't even have to do that on my calculator because that's 300, which we didn't do this past year. We did not swap adult gifts. That was great. And everybody was like on board with that. I say that, we didn't. We told everybody not to get us gifts and then Cullen's sister still got us gifts. But it's okay, we appreciate it. This is hard to do without you here. I'm like, anybody gonna respond to what I'm saying? We're probably not gonna exchange adult gifts again this year, but if you take into account in the previous, at least $1,000, $1,500, counting our presents to each other, counting the kids. I mean, we probably spent in previous years $500 per kid for 1-year-old. No judgment if that's you and how much you're spending, but for us and our goals, for our saving and our spending and our debt payoff, that's not reasonable right now.
Your mindset changes.
Yeah, your whole mindset changes. And of course, like I said, I have no judgment on anybody else who does that. It's your life, you live it, and you make the decisions for your family. But right now, for us, we're gonna cut way back on that as much as we can.
I gotta run. It's been fun. So y'all have a good one.
He's like, I'm out of here. Yes. All right, well, good. I can make these decisions by myself. Christmas, $2,000. No, I'm just Okay, well, let's just say $500 right now, okay? The pet vaccine, let's say $130 per pet because I don't really know. $30 per pet times 4 pets equals $520. Let's just make it $550. So in case somebody needs their toenails cut, Ada, they're all due for their vaccines like about now. Probably we'll go ahead and put aside like the amount we need each month and go ahead and take one of them, get that pet done, take the next one the next month, get that one done. So as far as like the car tag, that's another thing about our current car, the Suburban that we have the loan on, that we've been debating about selling, which if you missed us explaining why we haven't sold it yet, there's a video somewhere. It is on our list and we are highly considering that, but right now in the middle of trying to move and all of this, it's one more thing that we can't like process that right now. So the car tag for that I think was like $400 or something crazy. The car tag for the other car was $200, so it's like $600. So for now, I think we're just gonna stick with that the sinking funds we're actually working on are Brooks's birthday, Gaines' birthday, Christmas, pet vaccines, and moving expenses. We're gonna work on getting that all done in the time frame that we need it for. And then once we get past a couple of those, we can calculate like what's the yearly amount and then what we can put aside monthly. Instead of like Brooks's birthday's in July, we'd have 3 months of putting money into the sinking funds. 150 divided by 3 months is $50 per month that we would need to put into there. Gaines' birthday is in September. We have 5 months to save it, and that'd be $30 a month. $30 a month, and we have 5 months to save. For Christmas, if we're doing 500, so 8 months. So 500 divided by 8 is 62.5. Let's just say we'll put 65 in there per month. 65 by 8 is gonna be 520. Somebody get a little extra stocking stuffer or something. I can buy some extra Christmas lights. $65 and we have 8 months to save. The pet vaccines, that needs to happen as soon as possible. So if we divide the 550 divided by 4 pets is 137. So if we say 140, I guess 4 months, I don't know. Moving expenses, I honestly have no idea when we're gonna need that. This just needs to be saved as soon as possible. This is where I get a little confused. April is next month. I don't think that needs to be a sinking fund right now because it needs to be like next month. We need to put $50 instead of putting it towards, I don't know, groceries, put it towards Easter. Okay, so since we just paid the car tag in February, that one we definitely have 12 months left for. We've already lost March, so we have 11 months divided by 11 months is 18.18. Say we're gonna put $19 aside a month, and we have 11 months to save. So that just seems so much less intimidating as these big numbers do, because when you're actually having a full year to save, you're really putting like $20 or so aside, $20 to $30 aside for the whole year, which is just not bad. Does that all make sense? I hope I didn't lose some of y'all. I probably lost some people. I personally, I loved watching her budgeting video. I think this stuff is really interesting, and I love hearing about the numbers and how you plan it out and how you make it work, because to me, that's really exciting. Like, we're at a point right now in the way our budget is going where I know exactly which paycheck each bill is gonna be paid out of. I know exactly what's gonna be paid from where. And so I'm like itching, like I've already paid our credit card bills, our minimum payments that we're doing on the higher credit card bills that are due on the 20th. And I'm not even gonna tell you how many late fees we got in the past year because we didn't have the money in time, or I just put it off because I didn't wanna put the money towards that because it wasn't accounted for. But now that it is accounted for, and I know that once it gets out of my account, it's not going anywhere else, it's going where it needs to go. I paid those early. I paid them on like the 5th and they're due on the 20th. And so I'm like itching to know what's gonna be the balance next month. I'm itching to either be able to make another payment on there and what the new minimum payment's gonna be so I can start on April's budget. Like it just gets me excited. It's like encouraging to be able to know where the money's going and not have to worry about it all. I can't wait to see what the power bill is gonna be so that I can start working on that in my budget. Anyways, for now, that's our sinking funds that we are gonna start setting aside, other than like other people's birthdays, which will just be part of our envelope system. Like our kids have friends with birthday parties, we have family members that have birthdays, and we want to be able to give. That's one of the main reasons that I'm like ready to be done with this debt, because Cullen obviously is a gifts person. I love to give gifts. It's really hard for me not to just want to buy everybody a present for every occasion. That's where we stand right now. Y'all let me know if you think of anything that I've just flat out forgotten that's about to come up this year that's predictable. I hate Cullen had to miss the end of this, but you know, we gotta take care of our kids, pick one of them up for school. Hopefully Brooks will be feeling better soon, so we'll get to be back a little bit in check with what we're making videos about and get these up a little sooner. Thank you guys so much for watching and for all your support. I hope this was helpful. Go check out the Budget Moms video that I referenced. We'll have a link in the description below because it is so incredibly helpful if you're trying to get started on this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you at TFS scheduled side. Bye.